Hi, I'm Renee Walker, a mindset mentor, speaker, and lover of all things spiritual. I believe that at our core, we are all spiritually wired for love, peace, success, and abundance. Here on the podcast, we're diving into mindset, wellness, and business, but always through a spiritual lens. Let's just say we're going deep, but we're keeping it light. So let's elevate your life from the inside out, one conversation at a time. Welcome to Spiritually Wired. Welcome to the Spiritually Wired podcast. I have with me the beautiful, the lovely Megan Arthurs with me. So thank you for joining us today.
I am so grateful to be here.
Megan is the founder of Home Organizing, and you are also the resident organizer with CTV. So you may be familiar with her name, or you've seen her on TV on one of the shows, and that is why. So I'm so happy that you're here, because we were just chatting before that about, I think it must have been at least 5.5 years ago now, I was doing this series of interviews with some experts called Wellness Chats with Renee. It was meant to be the podcast. I ended up taking a bit of a longer pause than I thought I would before launching this podcast, but you were like my first or one of the first guests that I ever had on. And it's so cool, because your journey since then has just been incredible, like in terms of how much you've grown, your business has grown, your visibility, and it's just, I love seeing all the goodness that you're spreading.
Thank you. I remember that chat. It was virtual.
It was. Well, it was early days of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are.
I know.
In person.
Here we are in person. And since then, I have hired you on multiple occasions to come and save me.
I know your space very well.
I know, everything that's going on inside the cupboards here. But you helped me. No, honestly, I laugh about it, but it's like the best investment is when I know Megan is going to come with her team. You have an amazing team, and to just help me get things, whether it was, I know you've helped me sometimes where it's like a specific space. But then the biggest thing has been this move that we did, which was a downsize. And that was our first time, because my husband and I, we typically, you tend to go to bigger homes, so there's more space. And so this was our first time going to lesser space, even though it's not actually quite that small. But boy, it took us by surprise, the amount of work. So we were incredibly grateful to have you help us. I'm not sure. I feel like we'd still be packing it.
No. It was a fun project, and it's overwhelming. Like, moving is so overwhelming.
It is. And I don't even consider myself a clutter. Like, our house is actually quite clutter free because of the way that we're both very sensitive to how much it affects us.
Yes.
But even at that, it's incredible the amount of things that we accumulate over the years that you don't even know is there.
Yes.
So maybe we can start with just clutter. Like, what is clutter, and how do we, why does it tend to just take a life of its own?
So when we think of the word clutter, we tend to think of the piles on the floor and the dishes and the laundry and the shoes. But just to be really simple and basic with it, clutter is just anything in the way. That's the true definition of clutter. So it's not just the stuff in your home. It's also food choices you make, people in your life, social media. So that's really the bigger picture of what clutter is. But of course, we're talking about the home space. So we have items in our home, and they all hold either a positive or a negative. And when they hold the positive, that means that we use the item. We love the item. It's adding value to our life. when they hold a negative, it means that we're not using it. It's the opposite of that. And that's really what clutter is. It's an accumulation of stuff that you're not using, you don't need, you don't love, but it's still there in your home.
Yeah, it's there and it takes up. So, I mean, I use the word energy all the time. It takes up energy more than we realize how much.
Yes.
Like, that is the thing that I find when there is either visual clutter, we can see it, or you just know it's there. So, it's the same thing of like, we can maybe put a bunch of stuff hide it in a closet. So visually you don't see it, but there's an energy about it that
Yes.
is there.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like the energy in your space, I guess the best way to describe it is the emotional atmosphere that you feel and you can't see necessarily. And we have a hard time putting language to it sometimes because it's not really, our senses are not aware of it. It's an internal feeling. Like if we walk into a certain room in our home, we feel a certain way.
Yeah.
We may feel energetic and supported. We may feel calm, or we may feel heavy. We may feel something in our stomach, like a pit in our stomach. We may feel our shoulders shrugging up to our ears. That's because of the energy that room or the items in the room are making you feel. And an example that we can all relate to is when you walk into a room and there's two people in the room and you have no idea what they were just talking about, but you know they were arguing.
Yeah.
We've all had that
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
And we know they were arguing because we feel the tension in the space. That's what it means to feel energy in a space.
Yeah, it's very subtle, and I know that if you're listening to this podcast, this Spiritually Wired podcast, chances are you are an empath and you're very sensitive to energy. And so it does have an impact on the way that we feel, for sure. The space that we're surrounded or the space that we're in, and the way in which like the energy that the objects have, as well, as you said.
Yes, they either hold that positive or negative. I don't believe that a home or the items in a home can be neutral. Like, I believe they're either a supportive energy or a draining energy. And of course, we want to be living in a home that has supportive energy.
Yeah, and sometimes we just get into I don't know, like, I mean, that was like a really interesting exercise for us when we moved, because the one positive thing, even though it was a lot of work, but it does bring you the opportunity to actually examine
Yes.
what you own and what you want to bring with you. And that is the thing. It's interesting because we have this a vacation property that is much smaller. And one of the things that I really became so aware was how much there we have to be extremely like, I only will bring in something in the space if I know there is room for it. And so I just realized how much lighter I felt. And even in the closet, right? Just having a few pieces that I knew I loved, but not being bombarded with so many items of clothing that most of them you're not even wearing. It's
Yes.
just there, and you feel bad getting rid of them because you spent money on them, or maybe they did feel good at a certain point, but your body's changed and it doesn't look good, but you keep thinking one day
Yes.
I'm going to fit in these pants again.
The classic.
The classic.
The classic one day phrase.
So how do you help people sort through that and like let go of those pieces?
So I call it the art of clearing the clutter because it is an art. And as you said, it is a really interesting exercise. Like, you're able to identify a lot about yourself, your shopping habits and patterns, why you're holding on to items. So when I help people with this process, we honestly go through items one by one,
Yeah.
and it sounds painful. And the only reason it becomes painful is when you leave it for so long. So it doesn't become an organizing task, it becomes an organizing project. So it can be time consuming. But it's really asking yourself, let's say we're talking about a shirt. When is the last time you wore the shirt? And if it, is 6 months or longer, it's like, why are we holding on to it? And then all these reasons do come up. The guilt, the shame, it was trendy, I got influenced, I spent a lot of money on that. And it's acknowledging those reasons and then being okay with letting it go. I am a big, big believer in donating. I think that if you're not using your item, someone else can probably use your item. And it's always important to ask yourself, like, what is the purpose of keeping something that you stare at every day and then feel these negative emotions about? Like, what is the purpose of that? Why is it taking up space in your life? And then you're looking at a shirt that doesn't fit you anymore, and then you're thinking negative things. It's just like a negative affirmation.
I
It's
know,
like,
and it's like that's the cost, right? So we
Yes.
think of like the money cost of how much it cost us to buy the item, but then what about the emotional cost of holding on to it when every time you look at it, you're just like, oh, I can't believe I did that purchase. I mean, I've had a few of those in my life. where I'm
well, we
like,
all
or
have.
like the shoes that you love, but then they, hurt your feet so much. There's no way you can wear them.
Yes.
You were hopeful when you bought them, but
Yes.
now it's just guilt every time you see it, or regret, like I shouldn't have done that.
For sure. And there's different items that represent different things. Like I see a lot of items in people's homes that represent dreams or aspiration that they had one day, whether it's figure skates that have never been worn or
Yes.
the yoga mat that has never been unrolled. And we hold on to it because we want to be a certain version that we are not. And again, it's so important that your home is filled with items that represent who you are today, not who you were or not who you think you should be. The word should.
Yes, that's a big one. So, like, what got you passionate about helping people with their spaces?
I have always been really interested in space management.
Okay.
And I came out of the womb like loving or loving organizing. It's weird. I was a little girl and I remember like I always wanted to move my furniture around in my room. And I'd be like, oh, if I put the bed against that wall, then the space will feel bigger. Like I loved doing that.
Yeah.
And it's because of the way it made me feel. Always been super organized. And I just thought, you know what, there's something to this. And for me, it's not even about the physical organizing and the physical space. It's what is that doing for someone? How is that supporting someone in their life? And I believe that organizing and having an organized home really helps you cultivate a sense of well-being in your life. And that's like that is a value of mine. That's everything to me. And I think, wow, how cool is that we all have control, and we do, of our environment inside of our home, even though it's challenging if we share it with different people, but we do have a certain level of control. So we can all cultivate this really beautiful ecosystem within our home.
Oh, I love that, because as a meditation teacher, I mean, one of the things that we learn is, yes, we can't control what's going to happen, right? And so much of our energy goes into trying to control life, and we can't control life. And so there's a lot of freedom that comes with letting go of trying to control everything around us and just bringing our energy to ourselves. However, our physical environment, as you said, is something to a certain extent that we can control. And there is like what it represents to me. Like I know that there is something, and everyone can connect to that feeling of lightness that comes from, I mean, as simple as making your bed.
Yes.
it's amazing how much it does for your sense of well-being.
It's so true. And many people, when they think about organizing, they think of it as being something that's structured and rigid and robotic. And it's the complete opposite. It creates space in your home and in your life for miracles to happen. It creates space for you to be the person you want to be and show up in the world how you want to show up. It creates ease and flow and gives you free time. So it's actually the complete opposite of being structured and rigid and robotic. It's a beautiful experience, and I know you know what it feels like because you are super organized and you've gone through the process.
Oh, I love that you said it creates space for miracles.
It's so important.
Yes, because without it, there's like this, it's the feeling stuck, right?
Yes, it's like having a busy schedule. I'm working on that. When we fill our schedule and our life and our home with so many things, there's less value. It's more about the quantity than the quality and the beautiful things that life can bring you. You can't enjoy the moment as much when things are overstuffed.
Yeah, I feel, and I remember reading somewhere where it's like you spend the earlier part of your life accumulating things to then, switch that around, spending the latter part of your life actually letting go of things and recognizing. And I know that the simplifying my life is just becoming even more, just there's so much to it that speaks to me, but it can feel like you mentioned schedule. And that is so big. And it's another way that we clutter our lives is just saying yes to things that, again, maybe we feel guilty. So bringing all those same emotions, right? Of like, I should, the famous should.
Yes.
Yeah. So is that something that you find that you work with both? Like, are the two connected?
I feel that our environment is a mirror to what is going on internally. So when I walk into someone's home and I see, I'll call it clutter, and I say this with love and no judgment, I know that there are unresolved things going on with the people in the home internally. And it's being reflected as a visual representation in the home. And they could be small things. They could be having an overwhelming schedule.
Yeah.
And not actually physically having the time to organize. They have no time. They could be going through a life transition like you moved. It's a huge transition in life. They could be grieving. They could be going through trauma, big or small things, and it really comes out in the physical space. So they are interconnected, and it does come up, and I find so many people are unaware of the connection between what's happening internally and what's happening physically in the space.
Yeah, it's incredible, the connection between the two. So one of the things that I love is creating rituals. I'm just a fan of rituals in terms of not for the rigidity of it, but in terms of helping you actually create more ease and flow. And so there's something very nurturing about them, something very, it's a way that we can love ourselves. But when I think of rituals, I'm more thinking about your meditation practice or whether it's journaling or going for walks outside, your movement, your workouts. Are there any, because when it comes to organizing, so it's one thing you've helped us tremendously in being organized, like getting the space, but then we live in it. So then it becomes, how do I keep this space organized when, as you mentioned, there could be a lot of people that you're living with. So do you find, or are there any ways that you support or you help people in creating those maybe daily things that can keep the space organized.
Yes, and this is so important because maintenance is everything, right?
Yeah.
You might hire a home organizer and it's great for 24 hours and then, like,
Mm-hmm.
what now? So if you were going to do anything tomorrow, the first thing, and you've actually mentioned it, is make your bed when you get up. Because making your bed gives your brain this high five. It sets the tone for the day and it really demonstrates respect. You are respecting your space, and it's not just any space. You're respecting a space that represents your self-worth, your self-identity, and self-love. And that's what the bedroom represents. It represents all of those things because it's your intimate space. But then I would really explore diving into small household habits that are simple. And I do this in my own life, like a 60-second rule. If you are faced with a task that is to put things away, let's say, and it takes 60 seconds or less, just do it. Don't put it off. I go into homes sometimes and I see this pile on staircases. And I think what people are doing is they have things to put away either upstairs or downstairs. And they're like, I'm going to do it later when I'm going to that space.
Yeah.
So then they start to pile things on the stairs. But then over the course of a day, 2 days, 3 days, there's all of these things on the stairs. So now your 60-second task has turned into a 20-minute tidy up that you could have really dealt with in the moment. So if it takes such little time, just do it. And you always want to stay on top of the clutter instead of chasing after it. Consistency is queen. It's so funny when we talk about these other areas of our life, these other healthy practices like going to the gym, let's say.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that you can't go to the gym once a year and expect to have any results. Don't even go. It's a waste of your time.
Yeah.
It's the same with organizing. If you think that your home is going to be organized when you just have an annual decluttering day, it's not. It's like you have to exercise this organizing muscle. So something else I do is take a little bit of time before I leave the house in the morning and a little bit of time to put things away, wipe the counter, like a quick vacuum. And it takes me like no longer than 5 minutes. And finally, I really believe in setting a ritual that represents that your home is cared for. And for me, it's the lighting of a candle. Every morning when I wake up, I light a candle, and it's not really about the candle itself. It's just this feeling that brings a peaceful energy to the space, and that I know in my heart and my soul that I am grateful for my space. My space is cared for, and I feel cared for.
I love that. Inviting the gratitude piece. And you said so many things here that I want to unpack. But yes, it's not about the candle. It's what it represents for you. And there is something, again, an act of loving yourself in that moment, of caring for yourself. And it feels so simple, but it's incredible the difference. Lighting a candle, putting on music that you love. Like, it's those small things that enhance the experience that you have in the moment, that maybe, for some of us, maybe we didn't grow up with that. So it requires a little bit of training. But it's interesting because I grew up with my dad. Every time we would have like a meal, especially on the weekends, maybe not during the week because he was really busy working, but always light a candle. And even to this day, like, he will not sit. There was always a candle lit at the table.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I remember being young, and it would like drive me crazy because I'd be like, I just want to, do. And now, and then same with my mom would use our china like the good dishes every weekend, like all the time. It was not saved for special occasions. And yes, I did not appreciate it when I was younger. And now I have so much appreciation for that because it just felt special.
Yes.
It was a regular quote weekend meal, but there was something about it that felt just extra special.
I love that so much. Life is worth celebrating.
Yeah.
And life is full of both beautiful and really hard moments for everybody. And I believe that you have to use your good stuff.
Yes.
You have to use the stuff. Like, it's so interesting that you did use the good dishes, because so many people have like the nice this and the nice that, and it's like, oh, only for Christmas, only once a year. It's like, what's the point?
I know, for what?
Yeah.
Well, one of my good friends too, I remember I was at her house and she served, so she had her nice dishes and she put them in the dishwasher. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you put the nice dishes in the dishwasher? Because there's like that, whenever there's like a metallic on it, we're told not to do it. And she's like, yeah, you know what? I just decided it wasn't worth it. So I just put it in the dishwasher and it'll last as long as they last. And I'm like, thank you for giving me permission to do that, because so many times I wasn't using mine because I didn't want to hand wash. I'm like, no, I'm just going to use the other dishes because I just want to put it in the dishwasher. But it sounds so simple. She gave me permission to do that. And now I just put them in the dishwasher and I can see some of the plates. There's a little bit. But why? Who am I saving it for?
Exactly.
I don't even think my kids are going to want these dishes later on. Let's be real.
Yes.
So it's just a different way of thinking of what are we saving it for. So that, I love that.
And sometimes you do need that verbal permission.
Yes.
From someone to be like, yeah, it's okay that I use this, or it's okay that I let go of this.
I know. Yeah. It's a different way to look at it. Now, you mentioned as well the bedroom and just what it represents.
Yes.
And so I would assume different spaces represent different emotions and different values, perhaps. But the self-worth piece, I think, is a really interesting one when it comes to organizing. So how does it tie into the way in which we care for our spaces?
So the bedroom in particular, and this also includes your closet, like your wardrobe, represents your identity. It represents who you are. So oftentimes when I'm helping a client, I'll ask them if they have a particular spot they'd like to start.
Right.
If there's many spots that we might be tackling. And sometimes they say, oh, I don't know. And I sort of ask them, like, what are you dealing with? Like, what are you struggling with? And that is always one of the starting places, is the bedroom space, because that is your personal, intimate space that represents really who you are. So when you organize that space, you clear the clutter in that space, it does fill you back up. It's that mirror again, that internal versus the environment. The kitchen represents something different. The bathroom, like all the spaces in your home represent something different. I believe that the basement represents the subconscious.
Oh, really?
Where, a lot of people put items in the basement that they don't want to deal with, and then they forget about them. And it's a little bit what goes on in our brain, things that we haven't dealt with. Go to the subconscious.
It makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, it's easy to like just let's just
put
that aside for now. We're going to park that. Yeah, we'll revisit it.
Yes.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it makes sense then why it would feel hard to maybe unclutter some of those areas if there's a lot of stuff that you've been parking.
Yes. And especially in the bedroom, your wardrobe, that's one of the trickiest spots for someone to let go of, is their clothing. And that's because, every day you're dressed in something. It really represents who you are and how you navigate life. And that can be hard for people.
Yeah. I have this vision. I have this thing with capsule wardrobes. What are your thoughts on capsule wardrobes?
Well, I think they're great.
I'm like, I love the idea of them, Megan, but I'm not sure that I'm actually
ready
to have one. I'm like, I would need a capsule wardrobe for different areas, But again, it's what calls me about it is the simplicity of, because there's a lot of mental energy required to figure out what are you going to wear today. And when the more you simplify it with just a few pieces that you know you love, you don't have to think about, do I look good in this? Does it feel good? Like, you know, because you've kept it. It's very intentional. And I think maybe that's the word. It's like intention behind what you keep. There's a reason, and it makes you feel a certain way, and you know you feel good. Why keep things that don't make you feel good? Doesn't even make sense, yet we do it.
So true. It's all about intentional living. We throw around terms often like maximalist and minimalist.
Yes.
I don't believe in that at all. It's
Okay.
all about intentional living, because at the end of the day, you want your space and your home to be filled with things that you love, that bring you joy, that add value to your life, and that you actually use. So that may be a more simplified version, but it is about this decision making. There's something about not being tasked with making more decisions than we need to every day. We make 1,000 decisions. And as you said, one of the first ones is, what do I wear this? What am I wearing today?
Yeah.
When we come home after a long day, we're working, we're this, we're that, the kids, we don't want to mentally manage our space. That's the last thing you want to do. You want your home to be a place of rest and rejuvenation and recuperation, relaxing with your family. You don't have to actually mentally manage where things are and putting things away and the clutter. So when you can simplify and your home is filled with intention, there's so much more freedom in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking of this. There's a doctor I follow on Instagram, Will Cole, and he says, like, from a food perspective, like, eat foods that love you back, and it's just making me think, like, you said that, and it's, your home should love you back. You should feel loved by your home, and if it's not loving you back, then that's maybe the sign of, like, okay, what changes? Maybe it's removing things. Maybe it is adding some things, right? It's not, and that's why I've loved working with you. Is it's not about getting rid of everything. It's about being intentional with what you keep and knowing that it has a home.
Yes.
Because if there's no home for it, then it's just taking up that space.
Functionality is everything. The function affects feelings in your space. And if you are someone where you think you have an organized home, but your morning routine is still a struggle, and you're late every day and you can't find the shoes that you want to wear, your home is not organized. Your home is not supporting you. It's all about function and flow. Is the system working for you? Is it making your life easier? And then aesthetics come next.
Yeah, and I mean, just having studied neurolinguistic programming, we all have different ways. Like, if you're a visual person, your environment really matters. And I find it interesting too. It's going to a restaurant. Personally, the ambiance is just as important, if not more, than the food. But I know a lot of people that it doesn't matter to them in the same way. It's all about the food.
Yes.
So it's really interesting also to learn about the way in which you process your environment, because if you are a visual person, it's going to drive you crazy. And that's where it can become a little bit difficult when we live with other people. So do you have any tips for that? Other than kicking them out of the house?
Sleeping outside is the way we want to go. Communication is everything. And, we're talking about it, and it really has nothing to do with organizing your space, but the way you communicate with the people in your household can make such a big difference. And tone, even tone, can be really impactful.
Why did I feel seen there? Like, tone. I could work on that.
I think it's important that you can meet each other. Let's say it's a couple. You can meet each other in the middle and where you're both at. So maybe some spaces aren't going to be perfect to someone's standard of organization, and other spaces that are more communal spaces, the kitchen and the living room, can be more up to the standard. But it's a challenge.
It
And
is.
I even see with clients that have children that are, they're growing families. That's a challenge too, because there's constant flow of items in the house. The kids are growing, they're going to different sports and activities, and it's hard to stay on top of it. And it's hard to force a teenager to tidy their room when they don't want to.
Yeah, I let that one go. I have to say, it took me a while, and I'm not sure that I'm allowed to to talk about my kids in this way. So let's hope they don't listen. But let's just say I have two of them. One's organized highly, and the other one not so much.
Right.
And the one that is not, I could feel the tension, like it would drive me crazy. And then I had to take a moment to really say, okay, what's my most important value in this relationship? And I'm not going to let what's happening in the bedroom, like I had to make a decision to let that go, to express. I mean, to a certain extent, it's not like it was, he could do whatever. But it took a lot out of me, because I'm like, I don't want to spend my days upset
Right.
because the room isn't being picked up. So I did make a decision to let that one go. And it felt like the right one. But the communication piece, because often they don't understand why it's important to us. And so what we're finding ourselves doing as moms or dads is just getting upset all the time without the context of why it's important. So that can help.
We're all wired differently. And some of us, I think we're very similar that way.
Yes.
We like our space to be a certain way.
Yes.
And it can very truly be bothersome when someone does not value
The same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So compromise, communication, and then compromise to a certain extent in
Yes.
terms of, what recognizing that if it's important for you doesn't mean that it's necessarily important for that person. And that can be okay. We can have our own spaces where we get to be ourselves,
Right.
and we, can live in a way that feels good for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
An acceptance piece is part of it for sure.
Yeah. The attachment to pieces too, right? Can be so interesting.
It is. We put so much emotional weight on stuff, and there's a lot of psychology behind it. When someone is struggling to let go of something because they feel attached, most cases, it's not because of the item itself. It's more so the narrative that we're telling ourselves about the item and what that item represents to us. And this is different for everybody. I have helped a client before who was going through a divorce, and she had an abundant amount of items that she wasn't using, and she knew she wasn't using them. But her reason for holding on was because she fought so hard for those items. And it's heartbreaking in a way, because people go through really challenging times, and then we hold and we cling onto the stuff, but that's just keeping us stuck. It also depends what generation you're from, how you grew up, your family dynamics. If you grew up and you didn't have a lot, you work so hard for your items, we get into this just in case mentality. I got to hold on to items just in case, just in case. The just in case mentality is really setting a negative affirmation, because what you're telling yourself is that you're good now, but you might not be in the future. So there's all these reasons that stuff keeps us feeling so attached, and just becoming aware and acknowledging it really is
Yeah.
the first step.
Yeah.
Knowing that you are not your stuff, you're
Mhm.
separate from your stuff.
Mhm.
It's really important to acknowledge that.
Yeah, and you're opening up the conversation here around the way that the clutter can block us from manifesting what we want, right? So if we uh, go into the more spiritual side of it, it's so true. If you're keeping something, you're giving energy to something that, or you're essentially telling the universe, hey, I don't want this, or hey, I want more of this,
Yes.
but it's not actually what you want
Right.
or don't want.
And it creates so much resistance in your
Mm-hmm.
life
Mm-hmm.
because the stuff does hold meaning and it holds
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's back to that positive and negative charge
Mm-hmm.
when most of your space is filled with items that you don't really want or use. It has that negative charge, which does block you, and it stops you from flourishing. It stops you
Yeah.
from living that beautiful life and receiving. It stops you from receiving like the abundance that you do deserve.
Yeah, and that's the piece to it too, is in order to receive and to bring in what it is that we desire, what we want, we need to have space for it. So if whether it's physical clutter or it's mental clutter or whatever way in which that clutter is manifesting, that is taking up the space. If it's taking up the space for the things you want, great. But if you're calling in, you're calling in. I know in my business, I've had to be very intentional with what I was saying yes to, because what I was calling in, I need space for that. And if my calendar is full with the things that are good, but not what I am calling in, then there's no room for it.
Yes.
So you can do all the journaling and all the manifesting and all the techniques that you want. There needs to be space for you to actually be able to say yes and to bring that in.
This is so powerful. There is so much benefit to breathing room, especially in your physical space.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having an empty corner or an empty wall. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of room to breathe or room to grow into in the calendar, in the home, on your phone, in your email inbox, in your relationships. Sometimes we just need space.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's power behind
Space.
that.
Yeah, it's making me I just took an even deeper breath as you said that. You mentioned emails, and I'd say for me in my own life right now, if I have to say the one area where I'm feeling the most clutter is digital clutter. Like there is so much coming in through emails and I mean, just an influx of information always coming in. And so much of what we're doing now is all online. So
Yes.
we're signing documents, we're doing all the things, and then we don't know even what to do with it. So it just stays stagnant. And before
Yes.
you know it, your calendar is 100 open windows.
Yes.
And as you said, it reflects. If it's a reflection of what's going on inside, it doesn't feel too good. So, do you have any advice on digital clutter?
It is a huge component in all of our lives. I recommend a Sunday digital detox.
Ooh.
5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take 5 minutes that we would spend scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
doom scrolling,
Yes.
and we are going to put our energy and focus on emails or photos. We're going to put our energy onto the digital space.
Yeah.
And maybe you spend 5 minutes unsubscribing, deleting old emails, backing up, saving your photos. 5 minutes every Sunday is not a lot of time, but over the course of time, it adds up to great results. We can all commit to that. It doesn't seem too hard to do, but it's just, again, it's that purging, it's that decluttering, but on the device. Because you're right, we spend so much time all day
All
all
day.
day.
I know. And now the photos.
I know.
That's a whole thing. I remember seeing someone, she was sharing, she's this influencer, and she was saying how every time she travels, and I guess she travels a decent amount, that's her time on the plane where she goes through her photos and organizes. And I just thought, okay, I love that there's a dedicated time around it.
Yes.
So I've tried to be really intentional with that too, because otherwise, I mean, there's so many photos all over the place. And so sorting it just requires intention and time to do it. So
Yes.
finding those pockets of time. So I love the Sunday idea. I do my planning on Sundays. I could fill in some, I could add a little mini digital clutter
Yeah.
detox.
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 And once we feel like we have a hold on it,
Yeah.
it just becomes part of what we do. And this is household habits. Like it's part of that habit thing. There's something so profound about habits that we tend to overlook sometimes. Like the shadow of a lot of our problems are the habits are not supporting us. And when we get into the habit of it, like brushing your teeth, you don't even think about, you just do. If you get into the habit of every Sunday, yeah, it's 5 minutes, gonna delete some emails, gonna unsubscribe, it just becomes part of your routine. Becomes easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a part of what you're doing.
Yes.
What is your relationship with spirituality? So if we bring it back to being on the Spiritually Wired podcast, and I know you a bit personally, so I know it
Yes.
is a part, but what is the role that it plays in your life?
Oh, that is a great question. It plays a huge role in my life. It's part of who I am. It's part of my morning routine is connecting to myself and my spirit team and my guides. Um, I think it's really important that for me, it's important that I know that there's support that I cannot see in my life, professionally and personally. And that makes me feel really nurtured. And it's kind of exciting. There's an excitement to spirituality that I feel that we don't have to know everything. And I'm a firm believer that I don't have to see things to know that things are happening or things are going to happen. So it's a huge part of my life, and it continues to grow and to blossom, and it has over the past 6 years.
Oh, I love that. What does the ritual, what are your favorite ways of connecting?
I'm in my walking era right now.
Yeah.
So I make an intentional effort to put my body outside no matter the weather and just be in nature with no music, no device, no things in my ears, and just like allowing myself to move through space and seeing what comes up. And the whole no music thing, I'm a big music girl, so the whole no music thing is really interesting.
Yes.
To just let the mind be. I love meditating as well, and I love journaling.
It's the space, right? We were talking about the space in our homes, but it's that, I want to say mental space, but it's not even mental space. It's space for your spirit to be in the
Yes.
moment. And I know I have that same thing with going for walks. And sometimes, like, I love to listen to podcasts or books, but that means that we are consuming, we're receiving, and that's very different than connecting. And so being intentional with that stillness and the quiet and the not having any music, even though the music is fun and it has its moments, also just being in quiet is, and it's really interesting how difficult that is for a lot of people.
It is difficult,
Yeah.
but things shift and happen when there's stillness and space.
Because you can hear.
Exactly. It's like you get ideas
Yes.
that you would not have thought of if Britney Spears was in your ear.
Yes. Or
It's
it would have been a different thought.
it's true, but it's a really powerful practice.
Yes, the stillness, the quiet. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank
Thank you for being
you.
here. I just love you. And what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Social media is great on Instagram.
Yeah, you've got a great Instagram account.
We're IG buddies.
Yes, we are.
At HOM Organizing is where you can find me.
Amazing. Good. Well, thank you again for
you.
taking some time to be with us. And as always, I want to remind you that you are spiritually wired for love, for clarity, for peace, success, abundance. And I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Spiritually Wired. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and leave a review. It really makes a big difference for the podcast. And if you're ready to dive deeper and join a soul-led community, come be a part of the Spiritually Wired membership. With weekly life lessons and a rich library of recorded classes, it's designed to support you every step of the way on your spiritual journey. We currently have a special offer where you can receive your first month for half the price. You can find a link in the show notes or come check it out at reneewalkerwellness.com. Until next time, remember to take some deep breaths. Remember that you are spiritually wired.